Good morning, everybody. I'm giving my lesson video development on the equation graphing y equals tangent x, and we have a problem example here. For the problem example, we'll be doing y equals 2 tangent x over 2. So the table that will help us calculate this is going to be talking about graphing a tangent curve. So the tangent curve, graph of y equals tan x and its characteristics. We got all the characteristics there, the period, domain, range, the asymptotes, our x-intercept there, and then points on a graph. So we'll be using that and some other equations to calculate this equation. So for our steps to calculate, first we're going to identify two consecutive asymptotes by finding an interval containing one period. Then we're going to identify an x-intercept midway between the consecutive asymptotes. Third, we'll find the points on a graph 1/4 and 3/4 of the way between the consecutive asymptotes with respective y coordinates of -a and a being amplitude. And then we'll use steps 1 through 3 to graph a full period. So to find the two consecutive asymptotes, we're going to use the interval function of -pi/2 is less than bx minus c, which is less than pi/2. It's an equation that's given, where we have c is equal to 0, there is no c value here, and b is equal to 1/2 for our function. Therefore, -pi/2 is less than x/2 is less than pi/2, boils it down to our period containing one, or excuse me, our interval containing one period is going to be between -pi and pi. Next, we're identifying x-intercept midway between the consecutive asymptotes. We do this easily by getting the average center point, or just using mental math. So midway between -pi and pi is going to be 0. So our midway point is coincident with our x-intercept at 0. Third, we're going to find the points on the graph 1/4 and 3/4 of the way between the consecutive asymptotes with respective y coordinates. So we take the full period and divide it by 4. So the full period is going to be 2 pi over 1. Dividing that by 4, we get our individual quarter periods of pi/2. So first we're going to add it to our far left asymptote of -pi. So we -pi plus pi/2 equals -pi/2. That'll be our 1/4 point. Our 3/4 point is doing the opposite and subtracting pi/2 from pi to equal pi/2 for our 3/4 point. And then given the coordinates for the y-axis of being -a and a, that'll give us our 2 points of the our 2/4 points of being -pi/2 by -2 and pi/2 by 2. And then we're going to use this to graph the function. So here's what our graph looks like. Realize that the graph isn't displaying pi functions, just numeric amounts, so you have to assume a little bit between the two. But we have our x-intercept at the center point of this tangent curve at 0, 0, and then we plotted our 2 points for the y-intercept at our quarter points of 1/4 and 3/4, and that intercepts at -pi/2 by 2 and pi/2 by 2 for the 1/4 and 3/4 respectively. That is plotting and graphing our point of a tangent curve.